in the song.
We're ramping back up, ladies and gentlemen. Time to tell your friends that they got dropped. I tried to send out a few notices. So, yeah. We're going to do a little music opener, then we'll be back at it, okay? So, hang in there. We're hanging in there. We're all hanging together here. Just when we get on a roll, ladies and gentlemen, and get to an important part of the presentation, stuff just seems to happen. We don't know if it's what it is right now, what has happened. So we're just ramping back up. This is part 2. Okay, we're doing part B. Let me say part B of program number 5 on the sacrifice of Isaac. Okay, so we're just getting back in the groove here. And it's time to call a friend. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. All right, so hang in there. And welcome back to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. When stuff happens, as they say, right? And yeah, so and Art, good to have you on the broadcast. And Jet, glad you made it back. And hopefully our other friends will make it back. We were just getting ready to do Q&A with Just Love. She has a wonderful list of questions she had put on the board, and we wanted to address those. So I had gone to her channel and sent her a notice. I'm not getting the notice for the secondary broadcast, though. That's the thing. No notices have gone out, and and I don't know why that is. Let me do a refresh. Maybe I'll try that. Let me do a refresh here and see if that brings in a notice. If the notices aren't going out, that's not going to be very helpful. No notice, Shelley, and we're down to 5 here. Yeah, we had a problem yesterday when we had 2 shutdowns, but fortunately we were able to ramp up in good timing. And then today we had an extended shutdown. Okay, and so I was trying to figure out, should we just, because we need to let people know we're on, and we're not, and the notice didn't come out. Ninja, did you get a follow-up notice for right now within the last 5 minutes? Did you get you got a notice? Okay, good, thank you. Okay, so you got a notice, and you're down under. Of course, it's easier to go down and then over, I guess. And yeah, well, they got other priorities going on. Jet, and certainly we appreciate anybody who comes on by and wants to tune in and join the deprogramming. Okay, so all right, let's okay, what we'll do is let's go to our standard song, Shelley, for the first break, which is Blinded by the Lies, and that'll be a test. We're also testing it to make sure one click gets it rolling here, and that'll give a few friends time to get their messages I sent to them on their channel. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go to a song, and then we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Forbidden History Live. We'll do this thing. Okay, all right, we got 7. That's worth hanging in there for. Okay, we'll be right back.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order.
The new world order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests.
Subtlety sets you free. Your soul may know the darkness of divine eternity. Like petty thieves who plunder in the shadows of the night, they break inside and enter through the windows of your mind. How can I control this poisoning of the soul? These lies that blind your eyes, blinded by the lies. Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Thought machine controls the scene so well it doesn't show. How can I contain this anguish and this pain, knowing that your eyes are blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Have your before my eyes a curiosity, dust in the wind. All they are is dust in the wind. Same old song, just a drop of water in an endless sea. All we do crumbles to the ground, though we refuse to see. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Oh.
All right, and welcome back to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Forbidden History Live. Yeah, it seems really to be forbidden, doesn't it? 2 days in a row now, right when we get to a crucial point we're trying to make, and all of a sudden stuff happens, okay? And that's with the PH, stuff, S-T-U-P-H, okay? And, but we're back at it, and trying to make lemonade out of lemons, and it's the hardest thing to do at times, especially when they got all the money and can print all the money they want. We don't have any funny, but we do get it done anyway. So I'm going to take one of my C-Veg capsules, okay? Want to keep a buffer between me and the Fukushima radiation and all that strontium radiation, by the way. I didn't know that till this week that strontium was radiation, a byproduct of nuclear fusion and all that. So they're really poisoning us, and that's another reason you need to take your potassium iodide or your C-Veg by Scott Kennedy, pharmacy.com, FARMACSEA.com. Okay, and welcome back to those who made it back. And we were just about to do Q&A with Just Love. I don't know if anybody has Just Love's email or phone number, but if you have either one of those, hit her up, because I don't have any contact information other than I left a blurb on the last video she did. That we're back up, but that's a shot in the dark. Okay, but so I've just got to reshift here, and I had one more word I was going to do. No, did I do that? No. Okay, this is that's an interesting one. I got to study a little more because, we just did Yud. We just did that, and this is going to now be split. If we don't shut down again, we'll be split into do A and B of videos, okay? But we just did Yud, so I guess this will be a good one to read, because the word day is an interesting word, but the prime element is the AY. AY is the original word for I, and we're presenting the Indo-Germanic for anybody new listening in, which is what was breathed into Adam, into Hadam, okay, the original, and not the corrupted that came later on, okay? So AY is EYE, okay? And so the same with the word day, D-A-Y, because the D is a corruption, right? And it could T-A-Y. I spelled it wrong. Okay, T-A-Y. Okay, is T-A-Y. Day is Tay, and the D is a symbol of the setting sun. But if we're talking about daylight, well, what the D is implying is darkness, and the T is a symbol of light. And when Yeshua had the victory of light is when he had himself nailed up to a crossbeam and conquered the flesh. So. And what's interesting about the word te is it's synonymous with the word toy, te, and so it implies a duplicate. It implies the duplication. A toy. What's a toy? Like, when we were little boys, we had toy trucks. They were duplicates of the bigger trucks, and so the te is implying the duplicate, and so that's the part of the great mystery of what they're doing with the words to us. And they're making him into something that has nothing behind it, like a facade. And that's flesh is flash. That's right. That's in other words. See, that's what the implication is. Flesh is flash. It's a star creation here in a moment, gone tomorrow. It's in a flash. That's the flesh. It's in a flash, because when you compare us with the infinite nature of the one who made all things. I always say, I have a saying that we're here for just one of his heartbeats, just one heartbeat. It's the only time we're here, and then we're gone, just that quick for him. It's and for us, yeah, it's or we could say we have a dog's life, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so day is interesting. Then we find the elements of the word dot, D-O-T, and then they go back into yud and yud and yutha and yud and all that, so the day in a period represents an age, and it can represent a day, a year, or even a great age, and therefore it has to be looked at in its pretext, not its context, but its pretext. And we have a battle going on with the word con as well. It's an amazing thing they've done to us, ladies and gentlemen. And we're gonna get to the part with Isaac being the second born in the sacrifice. That was our objective here today, and we were on a roll just before we got shut down by internet. And Jet had made a pretty good statement on the text just while we were waiting to get ramped back up, and she had said. She says, we had power outages down the street. I know you know how power outages will be in the new norm. And then our sources of communicating wiped out. Whatever you need as reference, it should be on digital, as they will soon be wiping that out. And thank you, Jet, for your thoughts on that. And that's the way it's really going to be. And then all of our food in our refrigerator is going to go bad as well. And so we'll really be dependent. So that's why having many different reserves, is important. A water reserve, food that's dry, packaged, or in cans, of course, or meals ready to eat. What we call the MREs. They have long shelf life. All of those things are important for now, ladies and gentlemen, including defensive. And when you put valuables somewhere, put them in 3 different places. That way, if somebody comes at you with a gun, you can say, okay, sure, I'll give you my stash, and you give them only a third of your stash, and the rest of your stash is still hidden. Then if they want to beat you over the head some more, you can give them the second stash, and then you got one left, So you got to think of the what ifs, and it's, they intend to have their phony alien invasion, so they'll probably be using their particle beams, their ray guns, or whatever you want to call it, and literally burn the world down. That's probably their last show. They're going to be burning everything with like we saw in Paradise. Everything's going to just be zapped, and they're going to zap you at the same time, and it's going to be quite a deal. So it's very tragic where we're at here in our modern time. We're in a science fiction movie, George Orwell's War of the Worlds, classic 1930s radio presentation. The people in Long Island, New York, and part of New Jersey, where I lived at that time, literally went fanatic. They really thought that it was a real news broadcast of an alien invasion because of the dramatic way that it was presented by George Orwell. Orson Welles. Yeah, Orson Welles' War of the World. I get confused between these New World Order wonks sometimes, And so, okay, and I'm keeping an eye out for Just Love, just in case she comes back. I think what I'll do then is and Krista, you're saying, well, I thought it was real, yes, and they went, yeah, people were breaking out their shotguns and all kinds of stuff was going on, all kinds of stuff. I think what I'll do is something on symbols, just real quick, before we get to the main feature, if our friends don't come back. Okay, so let me open up, and the word and the symbolism. Oh, this is a big definition, isn't it? On the eagle, because the eagle, just like the lion represents the sun, the eagle represents the sun as well, and so it's a symbol of height and the spirit of as the sun. Okay, there it is, right there, and of the spiritual, but it's not eagle, it's eagle. It's the A. That's the eye. Remember, that's the eye, because the bird sees farther than any other bird, flies higher than any other bird. So the eagle is the eagle, a symbol of height and the spirit as the sun, and of the spiritual principle in general. In the Egyptian hieroglyphic system, the letter A represented by the figure of an eagle, standing for the warmth of life, the origin, the day. Oh, the origin, see? Right there, let me underline that, the origin. He's acknowledging the truth that the sun is the origin. The funny thing about, we have to be able to define everything, ladies and gentlemen, bottom line. Okay, we have to be able to define things, okay? And clearly everything came out of the light. There's no question about that. The eagle is a bird living in the full light of the sun. And it's it is therefore considered to be luminous in its essence and to share in the elements of air and fire. Its opposite is the owl. Okay, so there's the owl is the bird that sees in the night. So you got the the bird of the day and the bird of the night, and the bird of darkness and also of death, right? Well, we have to identify with the fact that the firstborn are dead, right? And Ninja, you're saying you just lost internet on your PC, listening on phone, but can't Skype at the moment. Okay, geez, so something's going around out there, huh? I guess so. Okay, and so since it is identified with the sun and with the idea of male activity, which fertilizes female nature, the eagle also symbolizes the father. It is further characterized by its daring flight, its speed, its close association with thunder and fire. It signifies, therefore, the rhythm of heroic nobility. From the Far East to the northern Europe, the eagle is the bird associated with the gods, or the Elohim, of power and of war. It is the equivalent in the air of a lion on earth. Hence, it is sometimes depicted with a lion's head. See also the excavations of Tello. According to the Vedic tradition, it is also important as a messenger, being the bearer of the Soma of Indra. In Samaritan art, the eagle is the emblem of the thunderbolt and of the warlike endeavors. In the all Oriental art, it is often shown fighting, either as the bird of Imdugud, say that 3 times fast, who ties the terrestrial and celestial deer together by their tails, or as Garuda attacking the serpent. In pre-Columbian America, the eagle had a similar symbolism, signifying the struggle between the spiritual and the celestial principle and the lower world. This symbolism occurs also in Romanesque art. In ancient Syria, in an identification rite, the eagle with human arms symbolizes sun worship. And I put here, it meant, okay, yeah, that's the eagle with arms implies sun worship is not, that's a false narrative, sun worship. And I have my note here that it meant we are the sons of light. That's what it means, that the people, we are eagles. We have to be like eagles. He's interpreting it incorrectly, either on purpose or, without knowing the real meaning of it, in misinterpretation, because the eagle with arms on it implies that we are to be like eagles. We're supposed to see farther than all other creatures, right? Because we are the superior creation, and we are supposed to be like to fly higher, meaning to transcend this world. So there's a false narrative right there, and this is where you have to really know your stuff in order to get the better picture, and okay, so it also conducts souls to immortality. Similarly, in Christianity, the eagle plays the role of a messenger from the sun. And he's using the code word heaven, but it is the sun, okay? And Theodore compared the eagle to the spirit of prophecy, which would be correctly star navigation. In general, it has also been identified, or more exactly, the eagle's flight, because of its swiftness rather than the bird itself, with prayer rising up to the Yahweh and grace descending upon mortal man. According to Saint, I don't want to call him a saint, but Jerome, the eagle, is the emblem of the ascension and of creation of light, prayer. Among the Greeks, it acquired a particular meaning, more allegorical than properly symbolic in nature, in connection with the rape of Ganymede. More generally speaking, it was believed to fly higher than any other bird, and hence was regarded as the most apt expression of divine majesty. The connection between the eagle, and the thunderbolt already mentioned above is confirmed in the Macedonian coinage and in the Roman sigum. Well, part of the font is missing, so I don't know the right signum. I think it's signum. The ability to fly and fulminate, to rise so as to dominate and destroy baser forces, is doubtless the essential characteristic of all eagle symbolism. Notice that most nations want to use the eagle, including Freemasonry, right? They got the double-headed eagle. And as Jupiter's bird, it is, so now it's even Jupiter's bird, okay, is the theriomorphic storm, the storm bird of remotest antiquity, deriving from Mesopotamia and then spreading throughout Asia Minor. Asia Minor. That's the light of Asia. And on Roman coins, it occurs as the emblem of imperial power and of the legions. Its fundamental significance does not vary in alchemy. It merely acquires a new set of terms applicable to the alchemic mystique. It becomes the symbol of volatilization, there's a good one. The symbol of volatilization, meaning something that can be set on fire, right? And an eagle devouring a lion is the symbol of the volatilization of the fixed by the volatile, i.e., according to alchemical equations, wings equals spirit, flight equals vision, or the victory of spiritualizing and sublimating activity over involutive, materializing tendencies. Like other animals, when in the sign of Gemini, that's the gem in I, the eagle undergoes total and partial duplication. Thus arises the two-headed eagle, related to Janus as a symbol, which is usually depicted in two colors of great mystical significance, and red and white in many emblems, symbols, and allegories. The eagle is depicted carrying a victim. This is always an allusion to the sacrifice of lower beings, forces, instincts, and to the victory of the height powers, i.e., farther principle, logos. Dante, he even calls the eagle the bird of God. Jung, ignoring the multiple significance of its symbolism, defines it simply as height, with all the consequences that flow from a specific location in space. On the other hand, the constellation of the eagle, the eagle, is placed just above the man carrying the pitcher of Aquarius, who follows the bird. Well, so the query, so there's the word query, like inquire. So inquiring of the cosmic seas, carrying the pitcher, and so you're supposed to inquire as to what is in the pitcher, maybe in the metaphor. Who follows the bird's movement so closely that he seems to be drawn after it by unseen bonds. From this, maybe that's what he's inquiring then, right? And from this, it has been inferred that Aquarius is to be identified with Ganymede, and also with the fact that even the Elohim, or the gods themselves, need the water of the uranium forces of life. And uranium is interesting because I have a note here that it's uranium. Uranium sounds like Aryan, of a force of life, you know. So anyway, that's the definition of the eagle, ladies and gentlemen. And Shelley, if we could go to one more break song, if we got something new, that'd be fun. And we can then we'll pick it up on the other side with the Book of Jasher and the concluding part of the sacrifice of ASHAYAACH, Isaac, who was the second-born of Zavram Haim and not the firstborn, but yet received the inheritance, okay? That's very relative to our spiritual walk today, that we have to be the second born. And it's also evidence of how the Masoretic text and the priesthood destroyed our original stories and kicked them under the rug and did switch outs, okay, in many ways, okay. And so don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. Just stand by and we'll be right back, okay. Glad you tuned in. I hope you are telling your friends.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can go on pretending day by day that someone, somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make it brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free, as God has shown us by turning stone to bread. And so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children. We are the one to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. Get through, we make a better day. Just you and me.
must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh. Of tender years, can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh.
And welcome back to Forbidden History Live, ladies and gentlemen. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here: teach your children well. First thing we should teach them is they're not children, I guess, because child is killed and chilled. And so we have to go back to that word youth we were talking about, the youth, or the yud, the dot, the little ones, the yuds. Oh, there we go. That's probably the better word to use. Yutha, that's the origin of these words from the Indo-Germanic, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, yeah, we teach our children well, and they didn't. My parents didn't teach me anything, and teach children well. Gosh, I didn't. They taught me nothing. I was like, I had to figure out everything on my own, and that's a rough way to go in life. And then, but what about being lied to all your life? How do you like that one, right? Okay, it's absolutely astounding. So we've got Just Love calling in right now on Skype, and we're going to do some Q&A with, she's on the other board. She had left some questions. We're going to pull them up as soon as she gets here and try to make sense out of our world, ladies and gentlemen, and the great mystery. We can do that. We have to do that if we're wanting to get back to square one. Okay, so it's fun to. I've read these things once, and then so I'm doing it off the cuff right now, and we're going to just see where we go from there. So we're standing by, counting the clock, tick, 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 waiting for Just Love to call in, and we're testing the phone. This will be the first time the phone actually worked on Skype, if it happens. Last time we tried, it didn't work, but I think we've got the bugs worked out now. We have a good Yogeneer. She's the Yo woman. On Star Trek they called her Yeoman, but I think it's the Yo woman. Yo woman. And
stand by, she's calling.
There she is, right there.
Okay, say a prayer. Here we go. Hold on.
All right.
Just Love?
Yes, hello.
Hey, it's Yogeneer.
Hi, Yogi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? All right, let's try to get
Fantastic.
Desert on the line. Okay,
All right.
hold on.
Okay.
If you can hear me, I lost her.
Minute.
It's
I'm
Shelly.
there.
It's Shelly. It shorts out and it kicks me out of Skype, so she's gonna have to call your cell phone, I think, right now.
Okay, the cell phone. Well, shoot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because that is not. It's so awkward to hold that up to my.
Oh, she's calling again. Let's give it
Try
one
it.
more
Let's
shot.
try it one more time. I didn't
Okay.
realize I had to look for it to pick it up. Go
Okay,
ahead.
hold on. Hey.
Hi, I'm back.
Okay, it shorts out. We're testing this out, so let's try it again, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Hey. Hi.
You can turn me down in the background.
Shorts out. We're testing this out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
It's not working. It kicks me out of Skype.
Yeah. Okay. And so what's the other option? You don't have Skype. Just Love, you just don't have Skype on your phone or on your computer. We can do a Skype to Skype call. It hangs up on you. Yeah, it's hanging up on you, right? But Skype, what we need is Skype to Skype. We can try. Call in on my number. We'll give it a shot. I'll tell you what. Why don't we do it this way? Why don't I? Because we can't do a normal back and forth, and I can't hold that phone up to my microphone in my face, doing all the explanation. So why don't I do the explanation first, and then you can call in, and then do a follow up. Okay, so let's hold the call for after I go through them, and then we can do the follow up. How about that? So she goes to put me through, and call drops. Right? Yeah, I know. We're still trying to figure this stuff out, and okay, so we'll be right back. Another call coming in.
No
Okay.
calls coming in.
Okay. All right. So let me go to the Q&A then, and want to welcome any of our new listeners out there. And we're having interesting technical challenges last 2 days, and we're working through them. And internet's been going out in California and everything else. So here we go. Okay. So Just Love sent me a communique the other day, and she says, so here's some more questions, because she'd been putting them on the board, and when I was finding them, I was waiting for her to come back, and then I was answering them for her. So let's see what we have here. So Psalms 83:18, who is the Almighty God over all the earth? Okay, well, if that's the terminology that's in there, Almighty is correctly, and this is, again, this is interesting, why they don't give us the original words, right? Why, when you look up Almighty, then you find it's El Shaddai or El Shaddai, right? But El Shaddai would be more correct. Actually, it's Ul Shaddai, and it implies, in one sense, the eye that overshadows us, right? And Almighty, from the Almighty standpoint, what is mightier than the force of a star, the force of the sun, right? All the stars of the sky are expressive of this. And so the Almighty Great Ul of Haim, so the Great Ul of Haim, again, the logo being Yeshua, the logo being the Great Ul of Haim is the sun. So, but Almighty in its aspect means the Father who sees in the eye of the return. That's a code. Okay, Almighty, the Father who sees in the eye of the return. So, so I can type it out for you. Okay, so Almighty. Let me spell it first. A-L. Well, okay, that's Father. Father. Almighty. M-I. M-I. I better double space that. M-I then becomes one who sees. Who. And then A-L-M-I-G-H. There's our return. All my M-I-G-H-T-Y. And the T-Y becomes the one who sees in the eye of the return. And that's the A, the Te, A-Y, the I. Okay, here comes. Okay, so Almighty, you can see the elements we're talking about parent roots, and this is how these are codes, and you have to become a lexicographer, meaning reading the symbol, and the parent roots is all. Who's all? The Father. The Father is all. He's bigger and badder than everybody else, right? The Father is bigger than the woman, and so the AL is the primitive root for Father, and then the MI, as in microscope or microscopic, or in minutes, or in minute, as in the word Meitzar. The word May is the correct. It's not MI but MAY. Almete would be more correct in the original, because the MI is a corruption. There you got MI6, right? MI6, MI5 for British intelligence, and it's the one who sees, right? That's the one, the MI, right? They know it. They know the code. I just gave you their code. Okay, now you know what MI means in MI6. It's the one who sees, the spy agency, right? Then the GH, we talked about the GH, right, as the symbol for return. Like, look at your keyboard. Right in the middle of your keyboard, voila, there it is, GH, right at the center of everything, because it's about return. And it's about them keeping everything. They want more, they want it all. And that's what the word morals means, okay? Not ethics. And then return, yes, so the GH, and then the I is correctly T-A-Y. T-A-Y, okay, is the correctly the T-Y. And there's, you see then, that literally means T-A-Y is the I. Okay? So anyway, that's the element of that. And so is the question is that a correct statement? And or let me say this again. So who is some? Okay, who is the Almighty God over all the earth? Well, I just defined it by defining the words. It is the Father who sees in the eye of the return. What is the eye of the return? That's the Son. The Son is the eye of the return, right? And because everything came out of the Son, and as with every cause, there's an equal and opposite reaction, cause and effect, action, reaction. And so what comes out, something must go back. And so well, Yahweh, in other words, when you see, because they've manipulated the Eshavors, the words, then when we see the terminology typical to the Yahwistic text, which is Lord God, Lord with the capital L is Yahweh, and then the God is supplemented the Elohim, which is Ulavhaim. So that's why when you hear me say in lieu of Lord God, the Yahweh, who is the great Elohim. Why? Because the Father and the Son are one. That Yeshua is the active agent within this universe for the great Yahweh, because Yahweh is so great that if he were to come into the universe, then as it says in 2nd Esdras, that if he put all the stars of the universe together, brought them all together, all the stars of the universe, he would still be 10,000 times greater. Yeshua says when he rose from the dead that all power on earth and in the cosmos has been given unto me. What kind of power is that? When he knows how many hairs on your head, he knows what your thoughts are before you think them. You know what I'm saying? That's our idea. That's why I say sometimes, we're like the amoeba compared to what we are, right? The amoeba compared to what we are, we're pretty complex amoeba, one-celled creation, and that's like what we are compared to him. It's a comparison. You see, he is so. It's the great mystery, and so it says Yahweh, the existing one. Well, that could be terminology is there certainly, but it's Yahweh. The W is a corruption. There is no W in the original. They flipped over the M to use it that way as a code, but is supplementing typically for the V. They call it a W, but it's really a double V, right? So it's double vision. They don't want you to see the original, the Yahweh, the V. But notice that they put the V everywhere, right? They put the V on all the military soldiers. They put the V on the Bradley tank. They're all given the V symbol when they're given the peace symbol, right? They got everybody doing it, but it's their symbol. And it stands for the virgin light, but really it became a whore. And so it's occultic because they put on the light, they pretend the light, but they're not the light, you see? And so Psalm 83:18 was drilled into your head as a got-to scripture for God's name, right? Okay. So the Father is Yahweh, and His Son is Yeshua. Yeshua is the great logo. Yeshua is the Spirit, because He is Spirit. That was evident when He came back, when He rose from the dead. And He becomes Spirit. What He always was from the beginning is Spirit. That's the essence. That's why He and the Father are one. And He is the active agent for Yahweh, because Yahweh is beyond this universe. He is so great, you see, and so that's why we needed an intermediary. Okay, we needed the intermediary because He is so great, and Yeshua is the intermediary. He is Yahweh for Yahweh, and if to get a second witness on what I'm telling you, just read Philo. Okay, go read Philo, the friend of Yeshua and the great philosopher of the ancient interpretation of all the symbolism and the gematria and everything else. Okay, the true aspects of he's the only commentator I ever read. Okay, and would ever read, and he's the first. He's the first. Okay, and he was a friend of Yeshua, and he lived in Alexandria. And we find a story about him in the Aquarian Gospel, which is a misnomer for the original Gospel. Okay, so question number 2 is this the same God who demands sacrifice? Okay, so here's the challenge, the real interesting aspect of, and it's a good question, actually, Just Love, because there's definite confusion about that, and virtually I've never heard anyone give the answer correctly other than myself. And it's not to boast, okay? It's to show the problem that when you hear me talking about metaphysics, okay, nobody talks to metaphysics. They just talk quoting scripture, and they tell the stories just like they're just real stories, but they don't have an underlying cosmological meaning, and they do. Okay, so let's pose the question: Is the spirit, we'll use the word spirit rather than deity, is the spirit or the deity that Yeshua introduced us to the same as the Old Covenant deity? Clearly not. There's something going on that's different, right? Because we find that in the Old Covenant they said eye for eye, tooth for a tooth, kill all the people in Jericho, just slay them all, kill the women and the children, kill all the animals, kill them all, right? And so we see something different in the aspect of this love, and so there's a term within the Old Covenant called the jealous God. You know that term, that jealous God. Well, Yahweh is not jealous, okay? Yahweh is not jealous, but Elohim is jealous, was jealous, because it represents the story of the woman, okay? The woman is Elohim. So what does the Father do? He plants His seed in the woman, and then the woman brings forth the baby, right? Let me take a sip here. Hang on. And so what's happened is that the seed is being planted in the old world, the seed of truth, the elements of the truth, but the old world was not able to receive the truth. And so, therefore, the Father could not be introduced. The Travain love, the divine love of the Father that Yeshua represented, but yet it is also female, okay? But it's the virgin versus the whore. Because in the beginning of creation comes the chaotic, the chaos. And so the people of the old world were not able to receive the truth. So they had to receive the supplement, you see? And that's evident like when Moses came off the mountain, and he had the pure tablets that had the true law that we're all supposed to follow in it, but they couldn't receive it. They made a molten calf, and he took the stones and he threw it at the idol image of the. It wasn't a calf; it was a bull. By the way, they lied to us about that. There was a bull, and they don't want us to see the bull in this story. So he goes back up again for another 40 days, and he comes down with a simple 10-point narrative of the 10 judgments, of what we have to make about we're not going to defraud, not going to covet, not going to speak falsely, not going to, love our parents, all of those things that are basic within our spectrum. So they couldn't embrace the divine law that was of a higher nature, that didn't need codes, rules, and legislation, but simply was written on the heart. So the jealous goddess we see in the classic picture of Solomon, the story of Solomon. There were two women, and that were living together. They each had a baby. One of them suffocated the baby, and then she did a switch out. She did a switch out at night, and so in the dawn, not the morning. We don't want a morning. At the dawn, then the true mother of the living baby wakes up and sees the dead baby next to her, and she realizes that the other mother switched the babies out. So she takes her case to Solomon, to the king, and says, Solomon, this, we were sleeping at night. This woman obviously slept on her baby, suffocated it, and then she switched mine out. And so I'm the true mother of the living baby. And so Solomon, in his wisdom, says, get my sword bearer over here, cut the baby in half, and give each half to each of the women. And then immediately the true mother cries out and says, no, don't give my baby to the false mother. That's what the implication is. Not that she said it that way, but she said, give my baby to her. That's so my baby can live. Okay. And so he immediately knew that the true mother was crying out to save the baby's life, and he knew who to give the baby to, the true mother. But the point is that the story tells us that give my baby to the false mother so that the baby can live. So what we have today is the false mother is carrying the true baby. The true baby is the message of life, the story of the ASHAYAACH, but the occult have taken over the true baby. They killed the baby in the narrative, in the Eshavors, in the words, in the everything that they've handed us, the controlling the translations. How many people did the Vatican burn at the stake? So that's the jealous woman. You see, the jealous woman is the whore, because she she just hates. She just wanted to steal a baby. What does she say? Oh, kill it. Go ahead and kill it. It's okay. And so this is the darkness. So that's why Lucifer, represents the darkness. She's calling herself the light of fire, Lucifer. Lucifer is the light of fire, as well as it means the true code. The true code. You see, has a double meaning. And so it is the old covenant world that could not go to Yahweh, but now through Yeshua we are introduced to Yahweh and the great truth that we are to harm nobody, defraud nobody, hate nobody. But they had to read theirs in stone because they couldn't read it on their hearts. They were so stupid. And it was because the chaotic had to come first, and the chaotic is the lower, and then it comes up to the higher. That's why we go from being the firstborn, we find out we have to be the secondborn, right? We all have to be born a second time, because the first world is the lower world, and we all have to come up to the higher world. So they were in the lower world back then, and they were everything was pointing to the end of time when Yeshua would come. That's what the book of Enoch is about. It said at the end of time. That's 2,000 years ago, as it says in Hebrews, that the world ended 2,000 years ago, at least according to the age of darkness, because Yeshua brings us into the age of light. And Kip, good to have you. And hope things been good out there on the road for you. It's a tough world, and so that's basically that aspect of that. It's the jealous goddess. See, the word is God, right? That's how another trick. It's not the jealous god, it's the jealous goddess. They were in a matriarchy. They were following their mother, which was represented as the sun. That's what Mary represented when she brought forth Yeshua. She represents the virgin light. She brings forth the son of light, okay, the seed of the sun. And I don't want to lose my thought here. What happened is the virgin light became corrupted in the world, because that's the nature of the flesh, like the cookie jar, right? The little boy and girl, they're there, mom's making cookies. Can you smell those cookies? And then mom says, hey, look, I'm going away. I'm going out, going downtown, and don't touch those cookies because they're cooling off. When I get back, you can have some. And the little boy would say, okay, see you, mom. And then they're there looking at those cookies. You think they're not going to take a cookie? Come on. And chocolate chip. Oh yeah, come on. And so you see, it's the cookies are hanging in front of us in the world. What don't we want? We want this, we want that, we want some more. Give me more alls. Give me more, give me all. And so it's all the great mystery. But that's so the answer to the question: no, the goddess of the old covenant was a matriarchy, but it was in the fall, and therefore the virgin light became a whore in virtue of the creation itself. That's the whore, creation. Okay? And so what Yeshua then brings us back to is the light that we fell from. And that's the Father Yahweh. He is the great one. So it was a lower. Elohim is created by Yahweh, and therefore it's of a lower nature, you see. That's about as simple as I can give it, Just Love, okay? I think that helps. We can do follow-up on that. So let me do number 3. And first one to give me a list of questions on this program. I like that. It gives me some material, and you never know where you're going to go. And I like that as well. I like the challenge of being able to, well, it's just fresh, because I can do presentations wear me down sometimes, and I just like the simplicity of, answering what other people are still trying to figure out. This is no picnic, to know who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are, and when we're being lied to, how in the world will we ever be able to get back home, right? So number 3, why would an almighty God demand sacrifice? Okay, once more, it's because it's in the lower world. In other words, it wasn't the true Father that initiated the sacrifices. It was the corrupt priesthood. It was the corrupt priesthood, right? Because they're serving the woman, like we talk about, Lucifer. They're all serving this corporation, which basically is in the minds of people only, does not really exist according to nature, because all things in the beginning were good, and as far as creation goes, it was perfect. It was Yaltsar, and there was a man and a woman. That's where it starts, with the man and a woman, and then they duplicate. And so it was man in this duplication process that spread out, that in particular the Aryan, who had all this knowledge, says, hey, we can go conquer the world. We can go take over all those pretty women down there, have a harem, and then set up business, set up shop, we'll set up temples, and in these temples we'll say that we are, well, let me see, where's my if I could find that, I'll have to paraphrase it because I don't know where the book is right now, but I've got the Aquarian Gospel right in there. It says it so well that and this is exactly what the Brahmin priesthood say, which is correctly Zavram, who are the ancient fallen watchers. They said that we are so knowledgeable that we need not work, and that you will be our puppet kings. And so they set up the what we see today as the priesthood and the puppet nations. What you see today are all puppet nations, right? There's no difference between Trump and Merkel. They're all serving the unseen hand. They're all serving the priesthood, right? All the puppet rulers of the world. They're all bowing down, kissing the Pope's big toe. Okay, so it is a false system, and the only blood. In other words, what was Yeshua going to do to save the world? He was going to give himself as a sacrifice, his only loved seed, what we were referring to as the final cap off today of this story about Isaac, or ASHAYAACH, correctly. Why did they change the word? You know, so Yeshua, so the animal sacrifices now, you know, there's a bit of a mystery about that as well, because animal sacrifices were symbolic of you know, like when they sacrificed the ram. I remember when ASHAYAACH was, you know, willing to give himself as a sacrifice, but then instead they find out he's not to kill him, but instead there's a ram, a supplement is created, and the ram represents the Mo'ashayak. The Mo'ashayak is the original word for Messiah, but he's a Zav ram. The ram is the Zav ram, the sovereign, and that's what Abraham proved himself to be, was a sovereign. He would be willing to sacrifice his son, and the only question was he willing to do it? Not that it was going to be done, and then the ram becomes the supplement. So in the old covenant, so what they're doing in the old world is, as Clement said within his first or second Clement in the Apocrypha, which they stole from us, is the law of syzygy, and that means before the true one would come, the true narrative, many false narratives would come. That's called the sea of mankind, or as John said in Book of Revelations, and I heard the voice that was speaking to me that was just like the other voices on the waters, or just like the voice on the many waters, the way he said it. And the many waters are the nations of the world. The same voice, okay? But there's only one true one. And so the true seed line of the Aryan through Avraham, through Noah, through Enoch, did not demand blood sacrifice of earthly flesh, okay? But of animals they did, because it was another example again of the lower world. Not that he desired sacrifices, but it was a supplemental way to purge through the priesthood and through the administration of that's blood for covenant. Blood must be spilled. And so when Avraham sacrificed the ram, then also a new covenant was established through Avraham and ASHAYAACH, that through his seed line would come the star rams, the star ram singular, one line, the ram of the star ram, the line of the star ram, okay, being the Zav ram. The true sovereign are the seed of light, not the seed of darkness, the seed of light, the second born, in the age of the second born. So that's about the best I can apply on that right there without a follow-up. And then number 4, let me, I'm not able to look at the chat, by the way, because I'm on the other board here, and so I don't know if I'm missing anything. If you're not grasping, maybe we can do a drawing on a whiteboard in visual and connecting through seeing. Yeah, well, that's something we could do. Just love. Let me do the next question. Okay, why would well, you're going to be able to do a follow-up, so I'll get you to call in right after this, and we'll see if we can elaborate on what you're not seeing. Okay, so why would number 4? Why would Yahweh, who is the great Dolovim, she's got God here, that's the Pope, or the guard, that's the guard for the original thoughts, the guard, add the royal symbol and another vowel, and you guard. Why would Yahweh, who is the Most High over all the earth, let his son die on a cross? Well, the element is that without there was a curse on mankind, and so again it comes down to, without the shedding of blood, there can be no remission. This was the element behind a curse. Okay, so it's about sacrifice of some type. In other words, the symbol of the shedding of blood of the sacrifice is a symbolic of us giving our lives, right? We have to give our life to the cause of truth. We have to give our lives to, we have to spill our blood every day. Spilling our blood means I'm not going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what Yeshua wants me to do, and help other people, serve other people. So I'm no longer serving myself, serving others. So it's symbolic, but yet it also has within the operation of Yeshua, and also when it was in the institution of Levi, it had a cause and effect, okay? Because these are pure traditions. And therefore, once it was established, it was law. And so what the first made is Yeshua. He's the first atom. He's ultimately represented by the great logo, the garden of the atoms, the sun. That's him in symbolic nature. What better symbol could you have than a star? And so he's so powerful. Look at how powerful he is. And then yet he's going to come down. You see, we just proved out through this story about Abraham and ASHAYAACH, Isaac, that even they were willing to be a sacrifice. As we read yesterday, Isaac stretched his neck out over the altar, laying on his belly, reached his neck out for his father to slit his throat. And then at the very end, so both of them were willing to give their life because Isaac was Abraham's life, right? And Isaac was willing to give his own life. And so it's the prima facie of that we have to be the sacrifice. It's not that Yeshua is the only sacrifice. We have to be the sacrifice, all of us, in the great mystery and willing to give our life to serve others, okay? Like I had to go it alone for how many years with this, this download that Yeshua gave to me, and there was nobody that can get it, it seemed like, and they're all quoting scripture and not able to interpret any of it, and let alone the words. Okay, go spell. Remember gospel, go spell, and nobody can do that, but we do it here. And so the sacrifice. So I made a sacrifice for 40 years plus. I climbed a mountain 40 years ago for a vision, and then I went on the long journey through the wilderness all alone. Learning to do battle with the deception, with the deceit, with the lies, with the phony governments, with the persecutions, with the framing, of my, all the things I'd gone through. And so we had to, so isn't it sweet to realize the one who made all things is the one who came down himself to be the sacrifice? What more sweet poetry could there be than the one who said, that all these people are in suffering. All these people have free will, that they will only listen to me. I can heal their wounds, and I'm going to show them how to do it. I'm going to show them that I'm the star ram. I'm the Zav ram. I'm the ram. I'm not a lamb. I'm a ram. You see, they changed it to the Lamb of God. He's not the Lamb of God. He's the Zav ram of Yahweh. He's the star ram of Yahweh. Okay, so we have to see these things in new light. You're hearing these things for the first time, no doubt, in a way that nobody else is defining it. And these things have to be defined, and it's deeper. It's just far deeper. Everybody's on the surface, scratching the surface. And I'm out in the deep waters where people are afraid to, go out in the ocean. That's an ancient time, It's deep. Look at this dark down there. I don't want to go out in that water. It's deep water. But it's the great mystery. It's symbolic of the great mystery that we're dealing with here. And it says that the entire world has been deceived. The entire world. What part of entire world don't we get? And so we were able to find a crack in the wall. We're passing through the crack in the wall, getting to the other side, and that's a miracle, ladies and gentlemen, with this presentation. So so you said Almighty God's name is Yahweh, YHVH. Is this the God of the Hebrew and Aramaic text? Right. There, you see, they were serving Elohim, but Yahweh they knew was the great God. And therefore, and Yahweh introduced himself to Moses on the mountain in the burning tree, not a burning bush, another false narrative, the burning tree, because it represents the tree of life. Okay, so they made it a bush, and because they got to keep us off track, they got to keep us away from the symbols, and so, but yet they were following Elohim, the Elohim, and this whole picture is created. Remember when Jacob, it said that he wrestled with an angel, which is the false narrative, wrestled with an angel all night long. Well, he was wrestling within his own mind and creating light before Yahweh. Okay, but what happened? He went from, he says, I'm going to give you a name, and it's going to be Israel, which is correctly ASHAYAACH. But he already had the best name you could ever have. Jacob is Yochelleg, and it means seed of light. And so instead of being identified with the great name that he had, Yochelleg, seed of light, he then gets the secondary name, ASHAYAACH, and ASHAYAACH is the representative of the firstborn, and they couldn't go in. Remember, they came through the Red Sea and they were in the wilderness, but none of them could inherit the promise. They could not, only Joshua and Caleb, and there's symbolism in that as well. So you see, so the the lower world had to come first. They knew there was the great God, the great, to use their terminology, the great Yahweh, but the Elohim, the Son, represents the lower and the higher creation at the same time, a duality, because we're in the house of the Son right down here, right now, while we want to go back to the light fully in the great mystery, okay, by spirit, not by the flesh, but by spirit. So I know, not having followed this presentation for long, it's still a lot to sink in. Just love, but hang in there, okay? And I will do the follow-up. So you said that, and I hope you're taking notes so you can do your follow-up, all right? Because otherwise we'll just ad-lib it. You said, so is he the God of the Hebrews? So yeah. So Hebrew is the Avre, the star rays. They came down direct, okay? They were carrying the baby, okay? We talked about the baby. They were carrying the truth from the origin. That's what the Nazare represented. The Nazare, what was breathed into the nostrils, the breath of life, and the knowledge that went with it. The Nazare were symbolic of this pure line, the Hebrews, which is correctly the star rays. The Avres are the star rays. Hebrew is a corruption. Naturally, they corrupted all the words to keep us in deception. And so they're preserving the pure baby, the pure narrative coming down through time. Okay, but then Israel dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. They decided to serve the pagan deities, right? They went after the false traditions, and that's why they were banished. And Israel no longer exists since 730 BC. And so what we see today calling Israel itself Israel is pseudo-Israel. It's not real Israel. They're Khazars. They're Jews. They're Khazars, and they are Adamites at best. Adamites meaning from Esau, who is correctly ASHAYAACH. Okay, all corrupted words. Every word they destroyed. So we're reading a false narrative. We have to get back to original terms to get the original story, because it all unfolds when you get there. So in capping off here, I can get into more questions. Okay, I'm sure you can. And I'll be more happy to call in if you'd like. Thank you. Namaste. So, okay, well, there you go. So I'll tell you what, let's do a song. I need to recharge, and then Just Love, if you want to call me during the song, and I'll put you on hold, you can call in. Let's see, you've got one statement here. So is Yeshua the son of Yahweh? Yes, Yahweh is spelled correctly, YHYHALLVOLHAY. Yahweh. That is YHVH with the vowels, okay? That's with the vowels, okay? That's what we're supposed to do. Yal for that which goes round, symbolic in the primordial, sun and moon in the primordial, and not to mention the galaxy, the Mezoroth that goes round in rows, continually going round. But the Vol for the volumes of creation without end, the volumes, and the He, the breath of the eye. The breath of the eye then is like the light of the sun coming down. You see, everything has a connection with nature. That's how it's expressed. Nature is speaking, and these terms are the expression of what we're seeing every day, but we've lost the meaning. Therefore, we don't even recognize the sun as being Elohim or being the logo, the symbol, the great shield of Yahweh and Yeshua. You see, all of these things are lost. Okay, so let's go to a break, Shelley, and then when we get back, we'll I think we're going to have Just Love with us, and you've got my number, Just Love. Do you have it? It's on the description, okay? Or I think you probably have it already. So just look at the description, just drop it, and you'll see my number right there, right up at the top. 1, 2, 3, fourth line down, okay? And so we're going to just take about a 4 or 5 minute break, and we'll be right back. You're tuned in to Forbidden History Live. It's forbidden, ladies and gentlemen, okay? But we're spilling the beans because that's what Yeshua wants us to do, to speak truth from the Mount Zion, mountaintop. And that's the throne of the sun. You see another metaphor up there. Okay, we'll be right back. Glad you tuned in.
Gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A sonorous disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why no one got to know. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Na 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 na. I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize there was someone home, not a nickel to love. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? Oh well, oh deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart and a washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind, you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make that change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make the change. You gotta get it right while you got the time. Now you close your heart, then you close your mind. That man, with the man, that man, that man, that man, that man, that man, you know, that man could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make a change. Na 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 na. Gonna feel real good, yeah, 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 yeah. Na 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 na. No, no. I'm gonna make a change. It's gonna